Hey tech heads, Fina here. Do you know what's so interesting about the new Citroen e-C3? It's the cheapest electric car from Europe, and it's actually going to be made in Europe. Okay, well, I did find out that this made in Europe does have some caveats, but more about that in the video. Its price starts at just 23,300 euros, and there's an even cheaper version coming in 2025 with a price tag of just 19,900 euros. That's pretty amazing. So in this video, I want to take a look at the technical details that have been leaked and see if the e-C3 has a chance to beat the cheap Chinese competition. What do you think? Let's go find out. It wouldn't be me if I didn't start with the battery, and I've gathered some very detailed information for you. So the cheapest, not yet introduced in Europe, but already on sale in India, 200-kilometer Citroen e-C3 uses a cheap, durable, and virtually non-flammable lithium ferrophosphate, or LFP, battery. The supplier of the cheapest 29 kilowatt-hour battery for the base versions of the e-C3 Live and Feel is the Chinese company Swolt. The cells are prismatic and air-cooled only. So yes, production in Europe, but seems like we might still get a Chinese battery. Color me surprised, right? Okay, well, time will tell for sure, but personally, I don't know of any European companies that are making LFP batteries for EVs. If you do by any chance, please let me know in the comments. This battery should be part of the 200-kilometer WLTP version of the e-C3, which is already starting to be sold with a slightly different design in India. The weight of the battery is 275 kilograms, and DC charging time is quoted as 57 minutes from 10 to 80%. So the lack of water cooling does take its toll a little bit. Now, the permanent magnet electric motor in this base version is only 43 kilowatts and is manufactured by Chinese company BYD. This seems rather low for 2025 when this cheapest variant is due to come to the European market, so let's hope these leaked specs from the Chinese Transport Department are for markets other than Europe. What do you think? Will the entry-level Citroen e-C3 in Europe offer these specs in 2023 and at the promised price of 19,900 euros? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. In 2024, a version with a 44 kilowatt-hour LFP battery will come onto the European market. The range is 320 kilometers or 199 miles WLTP. That looks like a real range of 250 kilometers or 155 miles, which I would say is not too bad for the price. The DC charging has a max output of 100 kilowatts, battery recharge from 20 to 80% in 26 minutes. That's a nice surprise. Remember the cheap Dacia Spring or Skoda Citigo, Volkswagen e-Up with NMC batteries and DC charging of only 35 to 40 kilowatts? Here I applaud Citroen because with this cheap e-C3, you'll be able to take longer trips using public DC charging with ease. The e-C3 with a 44 kilowatt-hour battery will be offered in Europe in a U version for 23,300 euros and a max version for which the price has not been revealed yet. You guys have any guesses in the comments? Let me know. For the 44 kilowatt-hour battery, AC charging times 0 to 100% from the wall box will be around 7 hours for a 7.4 kilowatt AC onboard charger, and around 4.5 hours for an 11 kilowatt AC onboard charger. So I would say these are pretty interesting parameters for such a cheap car, right? What do you think? Let me know in the comments. By the way, do you find the information that I gathered for you useful? You can now say it with a super thanks. The e-C3 does have an electric motor in the front and front-wheel drive. A little disappointing for me, but okay. Now, the electric motor has a power output of 83 kilowatts or 113 horsepower and can accelerate from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour or 62 miles per hour in 11 seconds and reach a top speed of 135 kilometers per hour or 84 miles per hour. So these specs are a little bit disappointing, but it could have been worse, right? Next, let's look at the platform. So the new Citroen e-C3 is built on the new modular global low-cost Stellantis smart car platform, which surprisingly still allows the installation of internal combustion engines. The Smart Car platform is a low-cost iteration of the Common Modular Platform, or CMP, which was developed by Tata Consultancy Services in India. The platform is already being used by the Citroen C3 and Citroen C3 Aircross since 2022 in Asia, South Africa, and Latin America. That's interesting, so I guess we'll finally get to test it out for ourselves in Europe coming soon. Other Stellantis Group brands like Fiat and Opel will also be using this platform. Now, the Smart Car platform is made to compete with Chinese cheap EVs, and the e-C3 is a nice surprise. We can only keep our fingers crossed that Citroen can produce it in sufficient numbers. Do you think they can do it? Next, I want to take a look at some dimensions. So you might think that the e-C3 is similar to the Dacia Spring in terms of size. A lot of people comment on this in discussions, but as I found out, the e-C3 is actually much bigger. So appearances can be deceiving. Let's take a look at the actual numbers. The length of the e-C3 is 4,015 millimeters, while the Dacia Spring has only 3,734 millimeters. So the e-C3 is 281 millimeters longer. In terms of width, the e-C3 is 1,813 millimeters wide and the Dacia Spring 1,579 millimeters, meaning the e-C3 is 234 millimeters wider. Next is going to be height. The e-C3 is 1,577 millimeters high and the Dacia Spring 1,513 millimeters. So the e-C3 again is 64 millimeters higher. Now, what about the luggage compartment? The e-C3 has 310 liters and the Dacia Spring 290 liters. So again, e-C3 is bigger. Interestingly, the e-C3 also has a higher ground clearance of 163 millimeters, The Dacia Spring has 151 millimeters. The MG4, for comparison, has 150 millimeters. So, to sum it up, the new e-C3 only really has the silhouette in common with the Dacia Spring. Wouldn't you agree? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. What about infotainment and multimedia? So, the new Citroen e-C3 is supposed to have a head-up display. But I would say that Citroen has played us for a bit of a fool here, and in all the reviews from the channels that were invited to the car's unveiling, they do repeat the same nonsense that is in the press release. So I'm sure you all, like me, correctly imagine a head-up display as a display that projects data either directly onto the windscreen or a glass plate extending into the driver's field of vision, i.e. the road. But Citroen actually just did a projection display in front of the steering wheel in the dashboard below the windscreen. So it's not a head-up display, but of course we're still glad for it. But what do you think about this HUD and Citroen? Are they doing this to sort of fool us, or does their marketing team just not know the difference? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Now, unfortunately, the cheapest version of the U with a 44 kilowatt hour battery won't have a nice 10.2-inch display, but only the My Citroen Play with Smartphone Station smartphone holder with NFC, which transforms the phone into phone, radio, navigation, and music tiles that you can switch between using the buttons on your steering wheel. It's definitely better than nothing, but Citroen does not mention wireless charging, so if it is just a simple phone holder and one still has to plug in a charging cable, it's a bit of a disappointment for 2024, I would say. Now, after a free 1-year trial, it adds Connect Plus for a modest monthly fee. The Connect Plus package includes an e-remote app, allowing owners to use their My Citroen app as a remote control for their e-C3 in order to preheat or pre-cool the vehicle before departure, manage charging schedules, monitor charge status, and show vehicle location. Now, I'll say I'm just really hoping that this will finally be a new app, because the one I have for the Citroen e-C4 is really quite awful. So I hope they will upgrade that. In the Indian market, the e-C3 offers this new My Citroen Connect app, which finally looks modern and usable. So hopefully they'll be bringing that to Europe as well. In the Max version, the available infotainment with a 10.25-inch display supports wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. and has a wireless mobile charger on the center console. So I would say we like that, don't we? Let's look at the chassis and the comfort. So Citroen boasts the Citroen Advanced Comfort Suspension, which is designed to ensure the comfort of the car's occupants through the use of these progressive hydraulic cushions. So instead of mechanical stops, 2 stops, one for compression and one for decompression or rebound, are used in conjunction with a shock absorber and spring at each corner of the vehicle. So unlike a mechanical stop, which absorbs energy and releases some of it in the form of a bump, a hydraulic stop absorbs and dissipates that energy. So as a result, instead of like having a bump, it should feel sort of more like being on a boat or something. I personally have this system in my Citroen e-C4, and it can be very comfortable in certain situations. So I am curious to see how it works in the ultra cheap e-C3. Personally, I am not expecting any great miracles, but we shall see. What do you think of this chassis? Looking at safety equipment, the e-C3 has all the safety equipment, as most of it is already mandatory in the EU. So I'm just going to quickly run through all of it. The active safety brake is an emergency braking system that operates from 5 to 135 kilometers per hour, day and night. It's meant to help reduce injuries to vehicle occupants as well as pedestrians and cyclists. The e-C3 has that, that's good. The active lane departure warning system helps maintain correct positioning between road and lane markings by either gently correcting the steering wheel as the car drifts out of its lane, or by alerting the driver to drifting at lower speeds. It operates between 60 and 180 kilometers per hour and is deactivated when turn signals are in use. I have this in the e-C4 and it works nicely. It's pretty gentle and I like it. Driver attention alert informs the driver if the trajectory of the vehicle is inappropriate within the lane. This 2-step alert first detects vehicle swaying and alerts the driver with a sound and a message to drive carefully, then sounds an additional alert and message advising of dangerous driving once force sways are detected. Coffee break alert advises the driver to take a break after 2 hours of continuous driving at more than 65 kilometers per hour. And it is repeated every hour after that if no break is taken. I don't know about you, I personally don't mind taking a mandatory coffee break, but I guess if you were in a hurry, it might get annoying, but safety first. Speed limit recognition reads speed limit signs and displays these on the head-up display. Of course, the e-C3 doesn't have a head-up display, so I guess on the projection display. This smart system leverages speed limit data held in the navigation system and can also read temporary speed limit signs. The cruise control with speed limiter allows the driver to restrict their maximum speed to ensure compliance. So if your foot is a bit heavy, you might appreciate this feature. The electric parking brake, or EPB, is applied automatically when the engine stops, and it releases automatically when the accelerator is pressed. The driver can operate the EPB manually via a control lever in the center console. Additionally, Hill Start Assist holds the vehicle for several seconds on slopes greater than 3% to help you prevent unwanted movement, which I would say is pretty nice. The intelligent beam headlights use the windscreen-mounted camera to automatically switch between dipped and main beams when oncoming vehicles are detected and once they pass safely. I have that in my e-C4 now and it works really well. I do think it's a cool feature, though sometimes if you have like a lot of intermittent traffic, it can start to feel a little bit like the beginning of a rave going on. But I don't know, that they do work very well. Now, rear parking sensors audibly warn the driver of obstacle proximity, including children, during a reversing maneuver. A rear camera is activated when reverse gear is engaged to provide a view behind your car and warn the driver of passable obstacles via the 10.25-inch color screen. I have to say from experience with my e-C4, the safety systems like the lane keep assist are one thing that Citroen really got right. I have several gripes about my e-C4, but the safety systems is where I definitely have to give them points. So I hope this will still be the case in the new e-C3 as well. Now, are you happy to have such a wealth of safety equipment, or would you rather not have any of these things in your car? Let me know your preferences in the comments. My dear tech heads, I'm so glad that you've made it this far with me. I tried to bring you as much technical information and as few marketing promises as possible. If you do like my work, you can support me in creating more of it with a super thanks below the video, or check out one of my affiliate links and get something nice for yourself. I, of course, really appreciate your support. Now, we will soon reach 1,100 subscribers together, and I'm very grateful to all of you that are subscribed and all of you that will subscribe today. I do love your comments. I am often learning more from them than I could really find all on my own. So make sure to leave one. As always, thank you for watching. I hope to see you in the next video and in the comments section. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.